They've been patient long
She
enough.
calls them racial slurs. And
No,
it's
I
not
didn't.
just going to happen.
If I had,
He did the same to me, Your Honor.
but he obviously is too ignorant to understand.
I know you have a constitutional right to practice your religion, but these fires, Lockwood Realty Group versus Jure Bales and all occupants. How much is the monthly rent that y'all pay at this apartment or house?
I believe it's $950, but I'm on a program through Haven for Hope.
$950. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when you say you're on a program with Haven for Hope, do they subsidize your rent?
They pay my rent.
They pay your rent.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that
But my discrepancies are, I have glioblastoma multiforme, and at best I may have 24 months. And my family comes and takes care of me quite frequently because there's been times where my sister has unlocked my door or her husband's unlocked the door and found me on the floor having a seizure. I brought some literature about my disorder and also pictures of black mold that has been standing in my dishwasher since I moved in. And with my condition,
hang on a second. Let me look at the petition to see what the allegations are for the basis of the eviction. Okay, so this is your petition, your case. Okay. Tell me, I read in the petition what your allegations are, but tell me in a little more detail the reasons you filed the eviction.
Okay. Yes, Your Honor. There's a number of them. Just going down section 10.3 of our lease. There's been repeated gatherings of about 10 to 15 individuals in the apartment at once. Tenants and guests engaging in unsafe behaviors, such as jumping into garbage cans and creating bonfires in some of the common areas. Excessive trash accumulation in front of the building. Multiple guests refusing to provide identification upon request. And then unauthorized occupants staying in the apartment. When I asked who they were, one of them was stated as her husband, and asked her to have him added to the lease. They refused to provide identification and add him to the lease. And that was section 10.3. Section 11 was failure to use reasonable care with the balcony in the common areas. Also, they've constant bicycles, trash, and other garbage in front of the unit and common walkways. There's persistent trash accumulation in the hallways despite multiple requests for cleanup. Section 11.1, there's been verbal threats from her guests, including threats to burn down the apartment complex. Section C, 11.1. Section D is disrupting business operations. So her guests have approached the leasing office and their friends or
guests have
their other guests, I guess.
Personal leasing office?
Yeah, they've come to the leasing office and accused their unit of stealing bicycles. So they've come saying the theft and the person stealing is from their unit. Section M of 11.1 is they've confirmed out loud with me that I'm interrupting their bicycle business being run from the unit. So they told me that they had a bike business that they're running out of there. Section 23.1, violations related to health and safety concerns. I think that's the, jumping into the dumpsters and pulling out trash.
Okay.
There's reported verbal threats, physical altercations. Police have been called more than 5 times due to fighting, threats involving firearms, a .38 caliber that she had mentioned, and then bonfires creating as opposed to her grill being for food, created with papers in that area.
Okay.
There's a few others, but
response.
First of all, sir, the only firearm on my own is a .308. It's a handgun that I keep in a drawer, and I screw the door shut unless there's a threat. Be it break in, whatever. I'm a single female. I live at home. by myself, and I would like to have protection because, my dad did teach me how to safely and correctly conduct myself with a gun.
And you have a license to have that weapon?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And it is registered to myself. It has never been brought outside of my home. Past when it came to my home, it got put in the drawer and it's been there in my gun safe since. He asked me why I screwed the drawer shut. My son is very smart with numbers. He comes over on weekends. I don't want an accident with my 5-year-old and my 2-year-old because of a gun. So I screw the door shut because they can't get it open. That's me being a mother and being safe.
Okay.
As per the bonfires, I am a practicing Norse pagan.
What?
Practicing Norse pagan, and part of my spirituality and beliefs is we pray by fire. And per my First Amendment right, I should have the right to religion, correct? And the pursuit of happiness. And that's all I'm trying to do in the last 18 to 24 months of my life is to have happiness in a safe place. But that being said, black mold standing in my dishwasher for the last 6 months is not safe.
Mm-hmm.
My rent is paid every month. Mr. Palacio never really has to see me unless I'm riding my bicycle, which is my sole source of transportation, to or from the store. He has had people such as my neighborhood in apartment 1314 watch me and report to him about my guests. But what he obviously is too ignorant to understand is I have glioblastoma, which comes with seizures, headaches, explosive outbursts. It even says, per the Mayo Clinic, and I can hand you the Mayo Clinic's documentation saying that family and friends surrounding the person with the cancer can prolong their life because it helps them keep their brain functions.
Mm-hmm.
So my family doing what they're supposed to do should not be against the law or against their rules, because they come over. He's the only one with the key. He comes over and checks on me daily.
Mm-hmm.
Him and his wife, who's my baby sister.
Do these guests stay overnight?
No more than 3 days. And he's proclaiming that I have someone living with me, but they've only been there for 2 days at a time. No more than 6 in a calendar month. And that's only because, like, he stays when I have to go do my PET scans, when I have to go do MRIs,
Mm-hmm.
whatever have you. If my appointments are at 8:30 in the morning, they have to stay the night so that they're there on time.
Okay.
To travel with me to my appointment, deal with the appointment, and come home. Make sure I'm stabilized, and then they go home, and I go on about my day.
And what do you do for a living? How do you earn income?
I'm a practicing tattoo artist. I am building my portfolio at this time. I plan on having my own tattoo company by the time before I pass, and I'm working very hard and very diligently to build my portfolio. But I don't charge for my tattoos. I do most of my tattoos on myself, but it's not only therapeutic, but it also helps me keep my brain functions where I can keep functioning properly.
Okay.
I do have a lot of trouble articulating words at times. I do have a lot of trouble with headaches,
Mm-hmm.
but I try my hardest to be a peaceful and happy person.
Are you selling these bicycles?
No, I ride a bicycle.
You ride a bicycle?
Yes, I ride a bicycle. He rides a bicycle. His wife also has a bicycle.
How many bicycles do you have on the premises?
At this time, I have 3 of my own personal belongings. That is my Magna, my 1967 Schwinn beach cruiser, and my Colombian. Other than that, there's not bikes outside my house. But how is it wrong for me to park my bike outside my house, locked up, and away from where it would be a blockage to anybody?
Mm-hmm.
And he has his people coming out to cut my locks. They throw away my plants. I should have these things because they're my zen. If I'm doing things to try to keep myself healthy and happy, please just leave me alone. I'm not asking for a lot. My family comes by and checks on me because they worry. Because they're worried about one day walking in and finding me dead.
Okay. I'd like to see the police reports.
I don't have any police reports. There was never a police brought to my house.
Okay.
That's just
You
it.
said
They
police
went to
have come
12,
out
they
and been
went to
called multiple
12,
times?
they went to
Yeah.
12-13 and 12-14.
They have your,
I'd like
they don't provide me a police report. They just say they checked on it.
Okay.
I've seen
And
them
you
go to
didn't-
12-14 twice. Sorry.
You didn't obtain copies of
I
the
didn't
police
obtain a
reports?
copy.
Because reports are written every time there's a call. And they're public,
Sorry.
they're
They have them
access
out.
public, and you can obtain them from the police department.
I didn't bring them, Your Honor. I apologize. But they've been out literally 5 times. The last time they told me, they go, no problem. We understand. It's the same unit. We go do that.
Okay.
And then a couple have been reported to me that I wasn't there. They're after hours. I understood, Jerry, you were beat up at one of the times, saying something about your husband at night. There's been times where I haven't been there in the nighttime. And then I also have,
I forgot when.
if you need additional kind of proof or I guess information. So Haven for Hope is the organization that does pay her rent. I would love to keep Jerry Bales, and we've had conversations about it. We've had sit down meetings, myself, my regional manager, Jerry, and her sister, where we've discussed these issues, where we want desperately to keep her as a nice paying tenant. Because actually she's a great individual. The other people that I've asked to get on the lease, that I've asked Haven for Hope to get on the lease, send them an email. They've confirmed as well, because I wanted to stay within their good graces as well.
Mhm.
So they said, hey, these are the things that they can attest to, having seen with their own eyes, and the things that they've addressed with her as well. So I have their, just a little bit more evidence from their side saying, yes, we witnessed and see these issues, and their confirmation of it. And then I have videos. Ms. Bales is right. Some of her neighbors do take pictures and videos, and they send them to me. So I have some of those videos if you would like to see them.
Yeah, right in front of my apartment where they were repairing one of my bikes. And that happened. Bikes need to be repaired. And is it a crime to fix a bicycle? I'm just asking.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. That's an invasion of my
Okay.
personal privacy.
I know you have a right.
We're addressing that with the police.
I know you have a constitutional right to practice your religion, but these fires concern me.
My barbecue pit is quite literally from here to you from a water spigot.
Are these fires they're in a barbecue pit? They're not open fires on the ground?
They're in a barbecue pit confined.
They're not in a barrel.
No, they're not in a barrel or nothing like that, sir.
Are they controlled and contained?
They're in a barbecue
Are on
pit.
the ground.
No,
Some
there
Some of
are
them are on the ground in a fire pit.
no. There was a barbecue pit that I had that was a small barbecue pit prior to me getting my larger one. It was a small confined barbecue pit that was actually a barbecue pit bought from Walmart for I believe $17.
They were cement blocks in a circle in a
There was
fire ring.
the cement blocks were surrounding it to represent the stronghold of your life. Because in my religion we use symbolism very frequently. You walk outside barefoot to ground yourself, so on.
Mhm.
So how can my symbolism of rocks, and it wasn't even cement blocks, it was rocks that were collected between here and Greece.
Fair. They were rocks.
Okay.
There were rocks that had been collected.
It sounds like you would like to keep this tenant if these activities weren't so frequent.
We would have, during our meeting in person about 2 months ago, we would have definitely kept her, but unfortunately the problems have persisted and got worse.
The reasons that they've gotten
They've gotten worse.
more frequent.
Yes.
Or worse.
Yes, Your Honor.
When you say worse, what do you mean?
They're more frequent. You're calling the maintenance guys derogatory terms.
So I told them to please get away from my apartment and leave my belongings alone because you have no right to take my bicycles and throw them in a trash can.
You know, they're not.
You have no right to take my plants and throw them over my back porch or throw my bike on my back porch.
She calls them racial slurs. And
No,
it's
I
not just
didn't.
gonna happen.
If I had.
She did the same to me, Your Honor, when I walked in.
What I
She
called,
called
what I
me
called you was
racial slurs.
was a correct statement.
Which was what? Which was what?
Undereducated and politically incorrect.
If
That was
I would have
my
taken
exact
that,
statements.
I would have taken it, but it was a racial slur to me and also our maintenance team.
But like I've offered you
In the-
many a times, if you want education about my disorders and my problems, then I will be more than happy to provide you with such. It's like I'm trying to hand this to the judge because I brought these infirmities for the judge. This is an explanation of my glioblastoma. Oh, sorry. This is the Mayo Clinic version and the American Association of Neurological Surgeons complete description of glioblastoma multiforme and what the cause, effects, and problems it can cause. Through the Mayo Clinic, you will see. I know. I was trying to explain to him that through the Mayo Clinic, you will see orange.
Question.
And
When was the lease signed and when does it terminate?
August 26th, 2025.
He's correct.
She's August 26th, what year?
2024.
2024.
Yes, and
It's a 1-year lease.
yes, sir. And the reason I knew for a fact from day one that I had someone watching me was my fiance and my little brother brought all my stuff, since we don't have vehicles, by bike trailers to my house from downtown. But they arrived at my house at 2:37 in the morning to bring me my belongings so that way I could have pillows, blankets, clothes, so on and so forth. I went to the office on the 27th and by the time I made it into the office to ask Mr. Palacio if I could get a cup of coffee, because I hadn't yet got my coffee pot ready, he had mentioned to me that there were two gentlemen knocking on my door at 2:30 in the morning. Well, he's absolutely correct, but why and how would you know that if you're not in your office? Because you have somebody watching you. If you didn't trust me from day one, then don't rent to me.
Okay.
If that's fair.
Okay. I understand that all of the activities that you're doing are for your mental health, to help you live longer, for your cancer treatment,
Yes, sir.
all these things, it's religious activities.
Yes, sir.
It's things that keep you going, keep
Yes, sir.
you
They
alive.
very much are.
You have to have family around. And evidently, when you first moved in, and even until a few months ago, they wanted you there and they wanted to keep you there. But all of these activities can be disruptive to the apartment complex, and apparently it's gotten to that point where the apartment complex has said enough. They've even talked to Haven for Hope in hoping to get something resolved. And I understand, that these things, these activities, are things that you believe that you have to do in order to prolong your life. But at the same time, but at the same time, it's disruptive to the neighbors, the other people that are living there, and every tenant has an equal right in that apartment complex to have a quiet, undisturbed place to live. And it seems like that your activities were tolerated for a long time. When did she first move in? Was it August?
End of August or the beginning of September.
Okay. So it's about halfway through your lease.
And the thing is I don't even associate with 10 to 15 people at max.
Mhm.
I maybe have a handful of friends at best.
Okay.
But my biggest problem with Mr. Palacio is I asked from day one, whenever the first instance with my dishwasher started, for a new one. He refused. I have I worked very hard to get my apartment because I have been economically displaced since 2005. I've been economically displaced because of Katrina. I got brought here by FEMA, and this is where I got landed.
Okay.
And in Texas, I've lost everything. And I don't want to lose this apartment because I worked hard for it by myself. I buried my husband of 15 years a year ago yesterday. And I worked really hard to be the woman I needed to be to prove to him from the other side that I am still worth fighting for. And this is the last thing I needed right now. Because all this excess stress that he has been causing me has honestly put me in a worse position than I was when I started.
Okay.
6 months ago, they found 7 tumors on my brain.
Will Haven for Hope help to place you in another apartment
No.
complex?
If I get if the eviction goes through, I don't have nothing.
They were
I go back to the streets.
2 months ago that they would, prior to the eviction.
No, they said point blank that they would not put me in another location with the eviction. And you did this. So
speaking.
I was.
speaking. Okay, fuck this. Stop my dick.
Hey, Judge, I apologize for her outburst.
That's typical for us. Mhm.
I was gonna send her to Joe. Should I hit him? No. Oh, I forgot. Joe's got us on camera in there.
I can't, and like, I don't know. Yeah. Something I couldn't confirm. I think 2 or 3 days ago, she slashed the neighbor's tires that she was talking about. So I'm
Okay.
kind of worried now.
Let's let her calm down, and when she's ready, we'll recall this case. Because I have a lot of people in here that we need to get through. What's that? Lockwood Realty Group versus Jerry Bales. Okay. Ma'am, I know this has been very difficult on you. And I know that you absolutely have to have a safe place to live. And I don't know if you've spoken with the city of San Antonio.
Oh, they were the ones that got me into the Sam Ministries program to get me in my apartment in the first place. I worked with Becca from the city for almost 8 months while I lived under a bridge over on the west side. I started working with Rebecca as a result of my late husband's suicide. And I've been trying my best to build myself up to be a better person since that day. Because I know that I used to be a monster. I know I used to be a bad person, and I don't want to do that at the end of my life. I've conquered too many storms to let this beat me.
Mm-hmm. And I would love to give you another chance, but I think the landlord is saying they've been patient long enough.
But the thing is he's been bullying and straight up watching me from day one, and that's not fair. I haven't had a fair chance since I moved in this apartment because there's no reason for him to have known what time my brother and my fiance showed up at my door. There was no reason for him to know anything about me because for me, I don't talk to him. I don't go into his office. I don't bother that man if I don't have to.
But if you say the neighbors are spying on you,
They really are.
He's not twisting their arm to do it. They're probably
doing it. They're doing it on their own.
An issue with you.
And that's just it. I was there 8 hours. I walked in my door twice before freaking the neighbor across the way started watching me.
Okay.
And like I've already asked her in both her native tongue and my own, please stop watching me because I don't have nothing to do with her. I don't speak to her because we don't speak the same language. I don't interrupt her when she's outside playing with her kids, and none of that.
Okay.
If I was, say, beating on her door at 2:30 in the morning or causing her discrepancies in the middle of the night, I could understand that.
Okay, ma'am.
But I'd have no knowledge or nor want for knowledge to keep any kind of conversation with her.
Okay.
I had to very politely ask her the other day
Yeah.
to stop watching us because we were outside having a very important discussion about my final expenses and my final fucking plans. I'm sorry, my final plans.
Yeah. And
she was there staring at us like we were caged animals and she was at the zoo. That's not fair.
okay.
She has admitted to me that Mr. Palacio has paid her to do so.
I can empathize with that, with your position, but it's time for it's time to move on. Okay? They've asked only for possession. They're not asking for anything else.
Yeah, and I'm appealing that factor because
I've
there's
granted
no reason for me
that
to be treated
relief.
this way.
I've
There's
granted
absolutely
that.
there's absolutely no reason for me to be treated like I'm a criminal or like I'm some kind of monster because I'm not.
You have 5 days to either move or file an appeal.
All I'm on an appeal. No.
Agree. This way. You also have to wait a minute.
I get my appeal. I walk in.
Your name?
Oh yeah, Goldie Cassidy. I don't know who that is. Yeah, I just didn't know if you were ready to go out there and deal with, or if you wanted to wait till she left.
Fun stuff. Thank
Yeah,
you,
that
Graham.
case is dismissed. I was with the guy didn't show up, who you were with. The other one,
Okay, this one, I don't know. Who didn't show up. I really.